Hey guys, it's Anne. So today's video is going to be me designing my own LED sign from scratch. I'm going to be using a 3D printer and some LED strip lights. I've been working on a few prototypes so far, so I'm going to be showing that to you really shortly, but this is just like a casual vlog. I'm going to take you through the design process and everything, so I'm super excited. Okay, so these are some of my prototypes so far. The first ones were these two, and they're just way too thick, and like the lights are supposed to go through there. It's like the two part. So that was a fail. So my second try, I was trying to do like these like taller, skinnier tubes, and you just could not get the gunk out in the middle. Those are the supports which you need to print it with, because I print it like that. My next ones were these, and these I'm actually pretty proud of, except they don't exactly click together like I wanted them to. Finally, my most recent one, and it clicks and everything, so I'm probably gonna stick with this and then do a few more trials with different like print settings with this. Okay, so I printed out my final prototype. I took the supports out of the middle and it actually just snapped right out, so this is awesome because the other tries are so hard to take out. But this is the final design for the tube. So the lights are basically going to be inside the tube, and let me just show you the lights. So these lights are from Amazon. They're just normal LED. They're the white LED strip lights, and I'm going to put them through these tubes, and then the tubes are going to be in like whatever shape I want. So I think I'm going to be doing a lightning bolt for my first one, but that's the idea. We'll go through and let me show you what it looks like. Yes! Okay, so real quick, I'm going to take you through the design process. So I went on Google and I found an image that I liked, and I had to import it into Adobe Illustrator so I could make it into an SVG. So I just outlined the lines and then saved that, and then brought it into Fusion 360, which is the 3D modeling software that I'm using. So from here, you just have to insert it as an SVG, and then it kind of goes in just as a sketch. And then I just edited it like it was a sketch, added an offset, rounded the corners, and kind of just followed what I did for the prototypes. Okay, so I finished my design yesterday, and I decided to wait until today to actually print it out, because right now it says it's going to take 9 hours to print, and it said 11 hours at first, so I already did cut it down by 2 hours, but I'm seeing if I can play with the settings a little bit more and make it print even faster. Okay, so this is my final design for the lightning bolt. I rounded all the edges. I made this hanging thing so it can hang on the wall. It's basically just a picture hanging back, and this is a hole in the bottom for the wires to go through. And all the measurements are exactly the same as the prototype for these tubes. So they're 15 millimeters by 15 millimeters, and then 2 millimeter thick walls. And I can actually include this in the description box so that you guys can check out the exact measurements. But it's the top and the bottom, just like the prototype you saw, and they kind of snap together with these snap closure things. And the entire thing is about a foot. My 3D printer is actually 300 millimeters by 300 millimeters by 305 millimeters, so I wanted to be able to print both halves of this on the same board. Okay, so now I have it in Cura, and this is the build plate for my printer, which is the Anycubic Mega X. And here are my settings really quick. I'm just going to scroll through them if you guys want to stop and take a closer look. But this is actually my third time reprinting this, because the first 2 times it wouldn't stick properly to the plate, so that's why it's going to take 10.5 hours, because when I tried to cut the time, it kind of just would not print properly. So it'll probably end up taking longer than this, because it's usually an underestimate, but we'll just see how this goes. Okay, so the print is finally done. It ended up taking 12 hours, and right here it's like coming up a little bit, so I think I'm gonna have to reprint this entire thing, but this one looks like perfect. Okay, so I just finished taking the supports out, and these are the 2 halves of the lightning bolt. This one turned out so freaking good. I'm so impressed with it. Like, the hole and the hanger part look perfect and everything. This one, though, is just whack. Like, it started curling there, and the rails aren't straight. And honestly, I saw this part coming because it wasn't, like, sticking to the build plate right here. But I'm just going to reprint this, and at least it'll only take half the amount of time because it's only one. So while that's printing, I'm going to get started on the LEDs. So I'm just cutting up my LED strip into smaller pieces so that it fits inside the lightning bolt. Next, because I cut up the LED strips, I had to solder the corners back together. So at this point, the other half of the lightning bolt was done reprinting, and I did change a few things in the settings. I added a skirt, and then I made the layer height 0.3 millimeters, so that's why it only took about 3 hours to print. But honestly, the quality wasn't that much better than the first version. There were still a few things wrong with it, but I decided to leave it just because it was good enough for my purposes. Okay, so next I'm putting a glob of hot glue over the LEDs, and guys, look at the difference it makes in that top right corner. It's a lot more blue, which I actually really like, and this is not what I intended to do with the hot glue, but it looked good, so I ended up doing it to all the lights. So like I said before, the top half didn't print perfectly, so the closure didn't end up working, so I just used some hot glue and glued that all together, and it ended up looking fine. So there we have our finished lightning bolt. Okay, so that's it for my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want me to make more videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye!